Most service business owners think their Instagram isn't working because their content isn't good enough, so they spend more time on it, better lighting, better editing, more clever hooks, and it still doesn't book a single call. Here's what I've learned building content systems for professional service businesses. Creativity is not what decides whether Instagram works for you. Two things decide it, and neither of them is talent. In the next few minutes, I'm going to give you the entire Instagram marketing strategy I use for professional service businesses, step by step, the same way I teach it inside of paid engagement. This is not a teaser. You'll leave with the framework you can run tomorrow, and then I'll show you how the AI system I built executes that exact framework in a fraction amount of time it would take you to do it by hand. Let's get into it. Let me start by taking something off your plate. If you're a professional service business owner and you've been telling yourself that content isn't performing because it's not creative enough or polished enough or clever enough, I want you to stop carrying that. That's not the problem. I've watched businesses with beautiful, well-produced content generate nothing. And I've watched businesses with plain, almost boring content build a genuine pipeline of inbound leads. The difference between them was never quality. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Instagram is not rewarding your creativity. It's rewarding two things and only two things. The first is consistency, not the motivational poster version of consistency. I mean a real structural posting cadence that the platform can rely on and that compounds over time. The second is data, whether you can actually read what your content is telling you and whether you adjust based on it instead of guessing. That's it. Consistency and data are the two forces. Everything else, the editing, the trends, the audio, sits downstream of those two. If those two are wrong, nothing upstream saves you. If those two are right, average content still wins. So the strategy I'm about to teach you is built entirely around getting those two forces right at scale without it eating your week. I run this as a 3-stage system. Stage 1, you confirm. You confirm exactly who you're talking to and what they need to hear before they'd ever trust you with their money. Stage 2, you connect. You build the relationship and the trust at scale through content that proves your expertise instead of just claiming it. Stage 3, you convert. You turn attention into conversations and conversations into booked calls. Notice what's missing from that. There's no stage called go viral. There's no stage called get followers, because followers are not the goal. The goal is a professional service business that gets qualified inbound leads on a predictable basis. Let me walk you through each stage, and as I do, I'll teach you the why behind it, not just the what. Because if you only copy the what, you'll stop the moment it gets hard. The why is what keeps the system running. Before you post anything, you have to confirm who your content is for. For a professional service business, this is everything, because your buyer is not everyone. If you run a law firm, your ideal client profile, meaning the exact type of client you want more of, is not anyone with a legal problem. It's a specific person with a specific situation at a specific moment. The reason most professional service businesses fail at Instagram is that they never confirm this. They post content aimed at everyone, which lands with no one. I learned this the hard way. I once built an Instagram account to 30,000 followers from scratch, real followers, real growth, and it produced almost nothing for the business because I never confirmed who it was for or what business outcome it was supposed to drive. I had volume with no direction. That's the whole lesson in one sentence. Volume without an ideal client profile is just an expensive hobby. So stage 1 is research. You confirm the exact person you serve, the specific problems they're searching to solve, and the language they actually use when they describe those problems. This is the first place AI changes the math. Doing this research manually takes hours, and most founders never do it, which is why they skip it. Owen, the research analyst agent, runs the research for me, pulling in the same kind of signals a business already has: comments, objections, competitor patterns, search behavior, and turns it into a clear pattern of who I'm talking to and what they need to hear. That's the foundation everything else sits on. By the way, if you'd rather just have this mapped out for your specific business, there's a link in the description to book a call. No pitch, just a conversation about your situation. Once you've confirmed who you're talking to, stage 2 is where you connect with them at scale. This is where founder-led authority does the work. In a professional service business, you are the product. The person who does the work and the person who sells the work are the same person. So the content that expresses your expertise is not marketing sitting next to your business. It is your most efficient sales tool. Connection content does one job. It proves your expertise instead of asserting it. Anyone can post, "We're the best accounting firm in the city," but nobody believes it. But when an accounting firm posts a clear specific breakdown of a mistake business owners make on their taxes, the viewer doesn't have to take your word for anything. You just proved it. This is the shift most professional service businesses never make. They keep advertising, but instead they should be demonstrating. Now, this is where the first force, consistency, becomes real. One proof of expertise post does nothing. Trust is built by repetition over time. Your future client needs to see you demonstrate your expertise again and again before they're ready to reach out. And this is exactly where founders quit, because producing that volume of content manually is unsustainable when you're also running the business. That's the reason I built the system around this stage. You record or provide the raw expertise once. Clara, the creative strategist agent, turns it into a content direction built for your ideal client profile, and Miles, the copywriter agent, scripts it into a consistent stream of connection content. The founder supplies the insight, the system supplies the cadence. Consistency stops depending on your willpower and starts being structured. Next is convert. Attention is not the goal. Conversion is. Stage 3 is where you turn the trust you built into actual conversations and then into booked calls. Most professional service businesses have no conversion mechanism on Instagram at all. They post, they got some views, and they hope. Hope is not a conversion strategy. The mechanism is simple. Every piece of connection content should give the viewer a clear, low-friction next step. Sometimes that's a direct call to action to book a call. Sometimes it's an invitation to reply or send a message which opens a conversation you can then qualify. Because what nobody tells you is that the DM conversation is where professional service businesses actually close, not the post. The post earns the right to the conversation, and then the conversation earns the call. So you architect your content to move people into that conversation on purpose instead of leaving it to chance. And this is where the second force, data, does the job. Which topics pulled your ideal client into the DMs and which pulled in views that never converted? Most founders never look at the data. They judge content by likes, which is a vanity number, instead of by conversation started, which is a business number. Nora, the performance analyst agent, tracks this for me and tells me what's actually driving conversations, so my next round of content leans into what works instead of guessing. That's the data force, and it's specifically her job. Now let me tie this together because I don't want you to miss the real point. The strategy I just gave you is not a secret. Confirm who you serve, connect through proof of expertise consistently, convert attention into conversations, and let the data steer you. So why doesn't every professional service business do it? Because the honest answer is time. The strategy is simple, but executing it consistently by hand while running a law firm or an accounting practice or a real estate group is not. That's the entire reason I built an AI content department around this framework. Not to be clever, but to remove the one thing that kills this strategy for business founders, which is the time cost. The founder shows up as the expert, Owen handles the research, Clara and Miles handle the consistency, and Nora handles the data. The two forces that actually decide Instagram's success stop being the things you have to force yourself to do and becomes things the system does for you. That's the whole game. So here's what to hold on to. Instagram doesn't reward your creativity. It rewards consistency and data. And the strategy that wins is simple. Confirm who you serve, connect by proving your expertise, convert attention into conversations, and let the data lead you. Everything I taught you today, you can run on your own. But if you'd rather have this built for your specific business so the consistency and data are handled and you just show up as the expert, book a call using the link in the description. No pitch, just a real conversation about where your pipeline is coming from and where it actually should be coming from. If you want to see the system working in real time, I'm documenting the whole thing on Instagram, which I'll link below. If this was useful, subscribe. I'm posting new videos every week on exactly this.